Small crimes turn into bigger crimes if not dealt with. The broken windows theory.
Hey, Rob, you blind. I saw you break that window.
Meddling busybody! That window was like that when I arrived!
I'm calling the police.
Ooh.
Don't run! Sergeant, be safe. I saw Rob, you blind, try to break into that building.
Thank you, concerned citizen, for letting me know. We will definitely investigate. Minor crimes such as vandalism, loitering, curfew violations, public drunk, jaywalking, or driving with your headlight or taillight out. Minor crimes turn into bigger crimes if not reported.
Sergeant, be safe. I would have gotten away with this if it weren't for you and these nosy citizens.
Community policing begins with you. So if you don't want to see your neighborhood go down the tubes, if you see a crime, report it. Sergeant Be Safe here. That's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's Coach Clee coming at you as your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker coming at you. We are on Black and Blue. Most of you know this is from the lab that has transitioned to Black and Blue, where we highlight and interview police officers, law enforcement officials across the nation who are either rookie, seasoned, or retirees. And we got a retiree in the house, and we're going to talk about life after retirement. We're going to talk about life on the job and currently what he's doing right now. Some of you may know him, others of you may not. It's Teddy Ames. He's a retired police officer, and he's more than meets the eye. All right. He's done acting, entertainment. He's done film, production, theater, improv, stage, and TV, and the list goes on and on and on. And we're going to go and cover it because I know he can talk about it way better than I can. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're going to bring him to the stage momentarily. But right now, I hope you enjoy this intro. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are sponsored by mg4tech.com. That they are in the comment section. Make sure you check them out for any of your online needs for ads for businesses, anything that you may need for podcasting, anything online, so you can take care of that. And also workwithclee.com if you want to be on the show, or if you're thinking about writing your own book, they can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. But I don't want to monopolize you guys' time any further. I want to bring our guests to the stage because I'm looking forward to this. I like the Start and Be Safe cartoons too. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like them. We got many more coming down the pipeline. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you guys see the title. We got Teddy Ames in the backstage right now, and he's going to be coming forward right now and telling us a little bit about what he has done and what he's doing. Teddy, are you there?
Hey, Coach, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show. I'm excited to have you right now. I know
Yes,
that I just suddenly brought you to the stage. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so 26 years with the Philadelphia Police Department.
Okay.
Recent retiree.
Congratulations.
Thanking God for that. Thank you so much. And say again?
I said that's a tremendous feat in itself.
Thank you. I appreciate that. that. And I'm also an actor. I've been an actor since 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah. So that's, father, husband, grandfather, brother, nephew, cousin, all of the relations.
You got to cover all bases.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes.
So, and we're gonna get into acting and all from 2011, but becoming a police officer for 26 years, you said, correct?
That's correct. 26.
What? When did you officially want to be a police officer, and what was that sparking moment for you, if you remember?
It's funny. I had this conversation not long ago. I actually wanted to be a police officer at probably around 19 years old.
Okay.
And my father thought otherwise. He said, "Well, no." He said, "I don't know that your temperament is the right temperature, I guess I would say, for that employment, for that line of employment." And he was right. When you're young, you envision yourself a certain way. But those who are a little older and wiser can see, a little bit better than what you can because they've had that experience. And so years later, and he and my mother had passed, and the opportunity once again presented itself. And I just took advantage of it because it was still something that I wanted to do. I had a few interactions with police officers, just, stop in the car for a traffic infraction or whatever the case may be. And it wasn't the most pleasurable experience in my teen years or early 20s. And so once the opportunity presented itself for me to become a cop, I thought initially I'm going to try to give somebody a better example of what policing can be, or the possibilities of what it can be. So and hopefully that's what my career became, or that's the impact that it had. Is that I was, firm but fair, I like to call it.
Gotcha. And through the course of your careers, can you explain some of your responsibilities that you had to conduct?
Sure. So initially, it's funny. I was what's called a Clinton cop. I came in the Clinton era, and we were hired as foot beat officers. So initially, I was a foot beat cop for maybe about a year.
Okay.
Then I was a bike cop, pedal bike, mountain bike, like people used to liken us to like Pacific Blue, which none of us could do any of the tricks that they did on that show. So
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you.
Yeah. But I mean, it's funny because we were well trained. The Philadelphia Bike Patrol is a well trained patrol. It's a lot that they can do with those bikes that people probably wouldn't expect them to be able to do. But So that was about a year. Uh, Several different tactical units. I worked a warrant unit for 10 years out of South Philadelphia.
Okay.
Uh, Myself and my partner. Um, just various tactical things. I was trained. My first district of assignment, I was trained very well tactically.
Okay.
There's a couple of different ways that you can perform the duties of policing.
Mhm.
It's always important to be a good listener. I think
Yes, it is.
listening will definitely help you throughout your entire career in various different areas. And it's being a good listener, but it's also being tactically sound because that's how you save yourself. That's how you save other people. That's how you save lives, the lives of the citizens you serve, the
Mhm.
lives of your coworkers, and your own. So
Right.
I was always pretty big on being, as tactically sound as possible. So
Mhm.
those were my responsibilities, a few different tactical assignments, and just what's called routine, but it's never routine patrol.
Right. Gotcha. And a side note, quick,
Mhm.
anyone watching right now, if you guys want that shout out that you're looking for, we're streaming on 5 different platforms. We're on 2 different YouTubes, we're on 2 different Facebooks, and we're also on LinkedIn right now. So I can't see who's actually on unless you comment. So make sure you guys keep those comments coming. And if you want that shout out, let me know. Just put a 1 in the chat space, and we'll get that comment out there or we'll get that shout out there for you. But back to the interview, Ted. So what gave you? I know you said a couple interactions that you had when you were in your teens, and you had a burning desire
Mhm.
when you were in the teen to become a police officer. Is that what really got things? You wanted to be a more positive, impactful police officer, or are there other stuff that kind of got you answer the calling on being in law enforcement?
Yeah, just trying to be helpful
Mm-hmm.
is I would say is a large majority of the police officers countrywide. I would imagine, as far as the initial driving force, you just want to be helpful.
Right.
You see what goes on, and you see it in different uh, realms. First, you see it on your block, then you see it in your
Mm-hmm.
community, then you see it in your city, and then you see it, beyond that. And you think to yourself, if this is your calling, you think, I'd like to be able to do something to kind of help stop this or help save that, whatever it is that's your
Right.
particular motivation. Um, but in my particular case, it was just that I felt like I just wanted to be a better example than some of the interactions that I had. And I don't want to paint the picture that they were all bad because I ran into really, really good cops before I was on the job,
Mm-hmm.
as a young teenager and in my early 20s. But of course, there was just like anything else, there's good experiences and bad experiences. But
Right.
my thought was if I'm able to do this job, I'd like to do it in a fashion where people come away from the interaction with me somewhat positive,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat content with
Mm-hmm.
with the information they got or whatever the engagement entailed.
Right. So it sounds a little like, I got to take a couple steps back. Got to give a shout out to Dolores Taylor, who did the connection
Oh
for us too.
yeah. Yes,
She went to the
yes.
academy with her. I believe you went through school with her, and she introduced us.
Oh my
And here
God.
we sit today.
Absolutely. I would be remiss if I don't mention my Overbrook High School fam. Yo, when I tell you, we were so tight, all of us, everybody in that school. But it's definitely noteworthy to mention that yes, Dolores Taylor, really, really good person, man, and just like a lot of us Panthers, you know what I mean? The school, the castle on the hill, as it's called. So I definitely want to give a shout out to my school because it's impactful to all of us. It's important to everybody that went there. I think. Yeah. So, mhm.
Absolutely. It's a small world. We sat beside each other for the entire 6 months of the academy. And it wasn't until recently she reached out to
Okay.
me, about a month ago and connected you and I, and here we sit on an interview.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. How bananas is that? You know what I mean? We've
Right.
both known her for years and never knew
Mhm.
each other. It's funny how life works, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, the interactions and impact that you had while working, that sounds a little bit like community policing. How important do you think community policing is, at least from your experience in law enforcement?
You know, it's funny. Until you actually, I don't know if that's something that's ever going to be a part of the policing process ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember there was a era in time when we had what was called safe streets in Philadelphia, and
Mm-hmm.
it brought a lot of police in closer proximity with the communities that they served, and that you were out on your feet rather, and interacting on a more uh, intimate and personal level than just driving by in your car.
Uh-huh.
And it definitely puts you more in touch with what's going on in the individual areas. You learn names and behaviors and processes that go on in individual neighborhoods that I don't know that I would have learned
Mm-hmm.
in that car. You know what I mean? So the community policing is definitely impactful, and it's definitely process changing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to change. It's going to change. It's going to change how you look at the community. It's going to change how they view you, because all they see is a passing car, just like all you see is people as you pass in that car,
Right.
right? They have no idea what Teddy Ames's thought is on whatever might be the concern of that citizen, or what's going on in this part of the community. The same way that I don't know passing in that car if they even have a concern about what's going on in the community. It's not until you have a conversation and find those things out.
Right. You got a couple shout outs
Hmm.
here. One from Frank McGrenra. I hope I said that right.
Oh
Great
yeah, yeah.
officer, taught me a lot. Enjoy that retirement. And Tim Cooney, Teddy Ames, truly an officer and a
Oh
gentleman.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
And you got
So
Mike, I believe it says Mike Perkins. I appreciate working with you, Teddy.
oh
Thank you
wow.
for this. You got a bunch of shout
Yeah,
outs.
yeah,
And Dolores,
yeah.
she's beaming that two of
I
her
see.
kids.
Yeah, I see Dolores. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were all as impactful as I ever was to any of them. I'm sure they were impactful to me. Cops I worked with. Tim Cooney's a sergeant that I worked for some years ago, and he ended up, moving on to another division in greener pastures, and he then retired. So yeah, they were all good people, all great people, and I'm thankful to have known and worked with them.
Yeah, nice,
Yeah,
nice. And I
yeah,
know, speaking of being engaged with the public, I know
right,
what I can't just say me, my department that I'm with, we like engaging out on foot patrols. It gets us out of the car. You get tired of being in the car,
right,
especially now the
right,
schools.
right, right,
You get to walk through. We get to do what a lot of adults don't get to do, and walk through the schools and then interact with kids. And it's
right,
peaceful. 9 times out of 10, it's peaceful interactions. It's just everyday life, everyday conversations, and you get to know the
right,
public. You get to know the kids. You get to know the area. So many different things to do. It's very fun. You got shop with the cop around Christmas time. You got National Night
oh
Out.
wow,
Um, um, coffee with cops at local
right.
coffee establishments. I would say the name, but they don't support the channel, so I can't give them that shout out.
Ah,
But the community engagement, I think, is very important, especially in today's climate, where I say all the time, police work, law enforcement is very cyclic. Sometimes we're on top, we're deemed the heroes. Everyone loves us predominantly, right? So sometimes we're very lukewarm, where it's necessary, but it's nice to have you around, but I could care less if I see you or not. And then for a few years during the beer virus, when it seemed like the whole world they weren't too fond of us, and we were at the bottom of the barrel. I think we're coming out of that back into the lukewarm era. But from what you've seen and experienced throughout your career, what are some issues you think are police officers dealing with the public, or the public dealing with police officers? What do you think are some challenges that can be rectified?
Absolutely miscommunication. Miscommunication, in my opinion, is the wedge between police and community. The thing that I always thought and still think even now is that, the community oftentimes does not know procedurally what's expected of us.
Right.
You hear as soon as something takes place, it's funny, but it's not. As soon as something takes place, you hear, oh, well, they can't do this, or they're not allowed to do that. So if they did that to you, you can sue them, or you can call and you can make a complaint, or you can, they're not allowed to walk taking their left foot as the first step. It's supposed to be the right foot. It's like, what are you talking about, right? So, but I mean, that's just, it's misinformation, and it's just, in my opinion, I think if there is a way to laymanize, if that's a word, I will make a word of it.
Yeah,
you got to listen. Just you got to check me on it. If they could just be told in layman's terms how things work as far as procedure in conjunction with the law. You know what I mean? Like, if it was a way to just convey to the public that we're not the biggest one, that always used to be my pet peeve. We'll show up to a house, and it's a call for service, for whatever the service may be. And they'll basically, why you pick this house?
Yeah.
I didn't pick your house. Like, if I had my way, I would never pick a house in a perfect world. In a perfect world, you would want to be able to sit and just watch time go by, because there's no crime taking place. There's no issues to try to fix or rectify. But we don't live in a perfect world, so this is why there's a need for policing. But that would be my thing. In my opinion, I think it's if the lines of communication could be a little more open and understanding between police and community, it would definitely help, I think, the overall interaction.
Right. I agree. I think that's a good point. Good assessment. And we're going to jump right back into it. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We got another commercial skit by Sergeant Be Safe. I hope you enjoy.
Hey, Sergeant Be Safe. Have you gotten your copy of The Lab Part 2?
Hello! No, I have not.
Well, I understand. It did just come out, but make sure you go and grab your copy as soon as possible. The Lab Part 2 contains so many amazing people and their stories. Let's give Coach Clee a round of applause for completing another book. It was great seeing you again, Sergeant Be Safe. Make sure you let me know what you think of the book. By the way, did you see who made the cover?
I finally got my copy. Make sure you guys go get yours. This book was published by One Way Publishing. Workwithclee.com is the website. Make sure you order yours while supplies last.
Subscribe now.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I hope you guys like starting Be Safe right there. It's a very fun cartoon to make. If you want to be a voiceover, let me know. The website's in the comment section if you're interested in being a guest. If you want to order a copy of the Lab Part 2, that could be also be taken care of on the website. But we're going to jump back into this interview. We got Teddy Ames right here. I want to talk more about life after retirement. I know he said he got into acting at 2011, and I'm pretty sure he's grabbed the bull by the horns now. Now that I'm assuming he has more time on his hands. Teddy, you still here? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. There we are.
There you
go. Little technical issue for a minute, but I'm back.
Yeah, I saw. I was nervous for a minute. His screen disappeared during the middle of the cartoon. I was like, "Uh-oh, hope he comes back on." But we got you back now.
Yes,
so
sir.
Tell us, you got into acting at 2011. What started that bug?
Wow. So that's a funny story. So my wife is she's very fond of like volunteering me for things, say now, and then telling me she volunteered me for it next week. Meanwhile, in the midst of now and next week, I'll get phone calls pertaining to whatever she involved me in, and I have no idea what's going on. So she made a call to a casting company in 2010.
Okay.
And I'm working. I'm on the job, and I get a call, and they say, is this Teddy Ames? And they got my information. And I'm like, well, yeah, this is Ian. Who's this? And they're like, we have you slotted for an open call for Monday night, let's say at 7 o'clock. I'm like, you don't have me slotted because I didn't sign up for anything. You know how you get defensive about, these times with identity theft and everything that goes on. So I'm like, I didn't sign up. So I call her, and the lady I spoke to ended up saying, well, we have this slot and you're here. Would you like to just come and see what it's about? Okay. I call my wife and I'm like, I got the weirdest call. This lady talking about some time slot for an open call for casting. And my wife goes, oh yeah. I'm like, what you mean? Oh yeah. I thought I was being punked or something. I almost hung up on this lady, And so I go to that, and it ends up being something for voiceover work.
Okay.
But then, as I'm there, the lady at the completion of that asked me, "Would you be interested in something else?" And I'm like, "Something else like what?" And she's like, "You ever done any acting?" And I'm like, "No." And so she gave me some suggestions. I ended up going to acting school for a year, and when I got done, I just jumped in. And so,
wow,
10 years later, there's been, I've been blessed, man. God, let me say this before I even go any further. God is good all the time. I've been blessed to have been in several different television commercials, and I've done several different theater projects, independent films, short films, plays. It's definitely been a blessing. It has definitely been a blessing. I don't take any of it for granted at all. So, yeah.
I was looking, and I like, you've got a laundry list of accomplishments on the bio as far as anything for production, film production, to commercials, like you said, the TV, skits, stage, theater, and I know you can reel them off better than I can. What exactly is would you say is your favorite or the most challenging or I know I'm combining a bunch of questions. What's your biggest goal with acting?
Okay, so I was going to say, first of all, I ain't gonna let you sit here and get me in trouble. Talk about which one is my favorite.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's all of them are the same. I get it.
I love all of those projects equally. So no,
Remember where you
so
heard it first,
my,
Kurt.
yeah, yes. So no, but they really, truly, honestly have all been in their own ways so fulfilling.
Hmm.
The short films, as much as the full feature films, the commercial work, as much as the plays, like they have all been because I've been, again, just like the police career, I've been blessed to just have been around some of the most phenomenal people because that's what makes it. It's about how good the core of people that you happen to find yourself surrounded by are
Hmm.
that makes or breaks your experience and how things go for you and how long you stay in whatever occupation it is.
Hmm.
I've been blessed, man. All of them have been great. As far as a goal, I think the journey is the goal. It's funny because originally, when you enter into something like acting, you think to yourself, man, I'm gonna make it big. And like people that I've worked with, oh my God, you going, especially when I retired, everybody thought Scorsese had called. It's like he got a call from, because he just rolled out. So I know he got the call. We gonna see it with a big screen. So I mean, which from their lips to God's ears, I pray that that's what happened. But that has not happened as of yet. I
Uh-huh.
am very active, and like you said, I have time now to delve even deeper into it.
Hmm.
But the goal is the journey. Like I want to just continue to try anyway to be good at it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? You know, you never really know. You never really know until after you, like I know now,
Uh-huh.
being retired, what my impact was to my coworkers
Hmm.
while I worked. But I
Right.
didn't know while I was working. You know what I mean? You don't find that out till after you leave and you get these great, amazing people to say such
Hmm.
uh, complimentary things about you.
Hmm.
But I mean, I'd like to think I'm a decent actor. I haven't been kicked off of a set yet, so I guess I guess,
Well, I
guess
hope
I'm okay.
that.
You know what I mean?
So let me ask you, how do you feel that working in law enforcement and gaining that experience and interacting with people that translates into acting? Are you able to use any of those skills while you're in performance as well? I know that's a loaded question.
Listen,
It's still a viable
well,
question.
no. It's not that it's loaded. It's just that I think about the. I don't know about the majority. I've gotten a lot of roles where I'm playing a cop. As a matter of fact, there's a commercial where I'm playing a cop and I pull somebody over because they don't, or not because, but they don't come to find they don't have insurance or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it's an insurance commercial. And my coworkers that see that commercial are like, that's the most work I've seen Teddy do in years. So they clown me about that. And so it ended up being a big funny joke around the district about that. So I do use. There have been times that I've used. Naturally, you go to saying naturally when you're acting, you're going to go to a place to get whatever the emotion is that the director is asking for.
Okay.
So, um, in doing so, oftentimes I'll use, if I'm playing the role of a cop, obviously I'm going to use some of my own experience
Hmm.
um, within whatever that role is. So I definitely use that. I use everything. I use, I'm a girl dad. All of my kids I got 4 girls.
Okay.
So there's been a couple of roles that I've played where I'm the father of a girl.
Hmm.
And so I draw naturally from that because I got 4 girls, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I know that. I know that life. I know that girl dad life. firsthand. You
Uh-huh.
know, whatever the role may be, I'm going to draw from it. But definitely, as a matter of fact, the last project that I was a part of that is actually premiering next month, I play a captain of a division, and I definitely drew, from my law enforcement experience, for that role.
Uh-huh.
I've never been a captain. I was always, I started and finished as an officer, but
But you play
be
one on
around
TV.
them, and I play right. Never been a captain, but I play one on TV.
That's cool. That's cool. I know that's exciting. I gotta make sure you post that information in the link or in the chat as well, so we can make sure when that happens, we can all check that out. Because I'm interested in checking it
Okay.
out.
Okay. Well, I can. You want me to just tell you what it is? I didn't know what the.
Yeah, I didn't want to overstep my bounds. Yes.
Oh yeah, no. It's the movie is called Money Lovers. It's a Focus Film production. Kyrie Terrell, give him his shout out. Shout out to Kyrie. And it's premiering on the 27th of October at King of Prussia Movie Theater. As a matter of fact, I believe 7 p.m. I think it is. I'm not sure of the time, but I do know that's the premiere, the date, red carpet event. So come on out in your finest, I guess. Live it up. But it's a very well constructed film. Very, very well constructed.
Interesting. Definitely got to take a gander at that. I'm looking forward to that. Let me ask you, law enforcement, since you're now on the other side, as far as the other side meaning retired, I should say. We're all striving to get there eventually. What kind of advice could you give guys that are either newer or seasoned to making it to the end of the road? I know backstage we talked a little bit how sometimes even in the career cycle itself, sometimes there's where you said a week could feel like a month and a week could feel like a minute went by. What kind of advice could
don't take it personal. That would be the first thing in my mind. Like, don't take it personal. What I used to always try to remember is, the job of policing is just that. It's the job. Of course, you want to care. You want to put some passion into it because it's, it's who you. It's what you're doing, and it's you doing it. And because you're signing your name to these documents and you're putting yourself and your image out to the community, it should matter to you.
Right.
It should matter what that means. But at the same time, it's such a fine line because, you have to remember, like I used to always think to myself, a police officer is what I do. A man is who I am. So it's not who you, right. It's not who you are. It's your job. But the funniest thing is, even in trying to separate those things, the public is not going to say, Teddy Ames pulled me over. They'll say Officer Ames pulled me over.
Right.
And so then the two become commingled.
Yeah.
So now you as a person become judged by what you as an officer have done. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's an unavoidable thing, which is why it's important to not take it personally. You know what I mean? It's important to remember, just take some stock in who you are, and I think that will transition into what you do.
Yeah. I often talk about how self-accountability is sexy. Self-actualization is also sexy. Then we'll talk about getting to know exactly who you are. And I could have that would have helped last night while I was working because an incident, I didn't get too far into it. But I mean, it is certain things just kind of push your buttons. And that way I was on an incident where I did push a button a little bit, but I had to kind of take a step back. And, it's it's a uniform. It's not me, because the individual I was dealing with, I've known for a long time. Yeah. And so I was like, wow, whole different side, but I understand this is a reflection of the occupation. It's not a reflection of me that they're actually being passively aggressive with.
Right, exactly right. That brings to mind there was several years ago. What I think I failed to mention is I worked three different districts in my career. I started out in a district in Southwest Philly in the 12th. That's where I, as they say, cut my teeth in the 12th district, and from there to the 17th. Michael Perkins, Frank McGrimra, those guys that gave that shout out, they worked there, and I met them at that district, and then I finished out in the first in South Philly. I remember years ago in the 12th, I had to arrest a guy that I knew for a gun. And, a gun is a serious thing. He didn't use it on it, but just the possession of it, in the fashion in which he had it, it wasn't, he didn't have a license to carry. And I remember feeling like that was going to change how we interacted with one another, because I know the guy, and it wasn't, he was a friend of a good friend of mine. And I remember it didn't. It actually, I got an opportunity, which maybe that's what changed things. But I got an opportunity to speak to him and tell him, listen, my hands were tied with what I was able to do as far as arresting you. You know what I mean? I couldn't, it couldn't be helped. But what I did do is contact our district attorney's office and just give them, my verbal version of the interaction and of the exchange and of the paperwork. Because, when you're reading something on paper versus hearing somebody's account of it, it's different.
Right.
And so, because I was able to do that, it changed how they approached it, which changed the outcome of this case.
Gotcha.
So that was helpful. Yeah.
And we got a question on the floor. I don't want to ignore you, Tommy Long. I know what team of the fence you're on. He's going to say Team Shayla here in a minute. But his question is, how hard is it to separate being a cop and a father? That's a good question.
Oh, wow. That is a good question. The funniest thing is I very rarely spoke about things on the job with my children.
Right. I can.
You know what I mean? Like, I was always just dad to them. The only thing that I would tell my girls coming through when they were young is not under any circumstances don't go anywhere near my service weapon. I kept it in a place where it wasn't out in the open to them. But it was still a lock that they couldn't, the oldest anyway, couldn't negotiate. And I wanted to ensure that they knew, that's something that you don't touch. That's something daddy uses for work, and do not go anywhere near it. Don't touch it. If I see you near it, it's going to be a problem. More for you than me. And that was kind of the end of that discussion. But other than that, I wouldn't really talk to them much about the job. I was just dad to them,
Yeah.
Although my youngest, when I retired, so she's 20, she just turned 28. So she was a year old when I got on the job. So she's never known me to do anything but police. So it was different for her. My retirement made her like a little melancholy about it, because that's all she's ever known me to do. But we both got beyond that.
Good. Yeah, I like that. Good answer. Good question and good answer. I know. Again, I can relate as well. A lot of things you kind of bring home, but you don't really bring home. I know whatever happens at work, I don't often talk about what happens. Mainly just because you don't want to relive it emotionally. You just want to have that time to rest. and actually be in
Right.
the moment of doing something else.
Right, exactly.
Well, right now, we're going to take a pause for the cause. Sergeant Be Safe is on deck. Make sure you guys tag, like, and share. Like the comments. Give Sergeant Be Safe a shout out because here he is.
Hello, ma'am. Send me gift cards and your credit card numbers over the phone.
Once Chance Wilder gets all of her information, we're going on a shopping spree. I'm talking Gucci, Fendi, and Prada.
I'll send the police to your house.
You mean to tell me that if I don't send you my credit card numbers over the phone, you're gonna come to my house and arrest me?
Absolutely. I love shopping on Amazon Prime, especially when everything is free 99.
I can't believe people are so gullible.
Sergeant Be Safe, you're right on time. Can you help me?
I sure can. Hello, Wild Chance.
Oh no, Sergeant
That's right.
Be Safe.
Never give out any credit card information over the phone.
I can't believe you led Be Safe right to us. Run, you fool.
Me? It isn't my fault. It was your idea.
You're caught and going back to jail. Remember, folks, don't buy gift cards and give that or credit card information over the phone, especially to a stranger. It could be Chance Wilder and his partner getting ready to rob you blind. Remember, take it from me, Sergeant Be Safe, and that'll be your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
And there it is, Sergeant Be Safe making his debut again with another cartoon on phone scams. And that's been the most popular one this go-round on YouTube, and just with individuals texting me on how many friends and family members they know that have been scammed by phone scammers. So I didn't know that one was going to hit home. But we're going to jump back into the interview, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you guys for sticking around. Hope you guys enjoyed the little commercial skit right here. Got Teddy Ames back here. He's recently retired. He's an actor on stage, screen, TV, television, cable, baby. He's right there. He's out there making it happen. Teddy, you still here? Can you hear me?
Yes, here I am. Yeah.
All right. I know we were having some technical difficulties, but we got it right back in store here. And you know, we've been talking about a bunch of different things here. Tommy's here. Tommy Long's here with another question he'd like to ask, and he's: how important is mental health to your occupation?
Oh wow. So all right, so I'm gonna answer that question in a dual fashion. Mental health, as far as our own mental health, meaning police officers' mental health, is very important. You know, to be aware of where you are with your mental and emotional state as you're performing your police duty. Is extremely important. Some of the things that you see on this job can affect you in a way that you might not even be aware of initially.
Right.
As far as dealing with the public and mental health issues that come into play with them, it's equally as important to be aware of. It can come across as some other issue sometimes. The same as I guess it could with you as an officer, but it could definitely come across as some other issue.
Right.
So you definitely want to be aware. You definitely want to be aware that what you're dealing with though it may look like maybe an intoxicated individual, or it might look like somebody who's just being resistant for the purpose of avoiding arrest, but maybe it's a mental health issue. So, it's definitely something to keep, in the back of your mind.
Right. Right. I want to kind of change gears a little bit. I want to ask you what recent issue and challenge has been going on across the nation, mainly across the world, and that not just with law enforcement, but with almost all occupations. Ever since the beer virus hit, it's kind of difficult to either having people finding good applicants, recruiting good applicants, maintaining anyone that you've had in that industry long term. Now that the world seems like it's taking a drastic change, what kind of how do you think we should face these challenges for recruitment and retention as far as law enforcement?
It's that's a strange bird. So I feel like the recruitment process, I don't know if it's a change in the criteria that's necessary to solve that problem, because it has definitely decreased in number drastically in the last few years on the job. And so I don't know if it's a change in the necessary criteria of the recruits, or if it's widening the area in which recruits are able to come from. I'm not sure about what to do as far as that is concerned. Retaining the existing officers. Yeah. So
he's laughing. I put him on the spot, huh?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like the retention process is something that the upper echelon of, I would imagine, most departments would have to address for that to change.
Okay.
Because it's above my used to be pay grade. Used to be, because it's above.
Are coming.
Right. Right, above my former pay grade. I don't know. I don't know what necessary steps would have to be taken in order to change how quick or eager officers are to leave. I feel like, though, that's where it would start.
Gotcha.
I feel like it can't start in my opinion, it can't start anywhere near the level of the patrol officer, because we're not able to affect change holistically in the department from our level. Not as quick. Now you can make suggestions to your sergeant, and maybe if it's something that they find fruitful, they'll take it up the chain of command to the lieutenant, the captain, so on and so forth. But if you're already up at the top of the chain, it's kind of easier to make those changes from the top down than I would think it would be from the bottom up. So I feel like, and you see me being very careful.
I know. You choosing your words wisely and dancing around. Yeah,
yes, I am. I don't,
questions and not answer them.
Yeah, and good for you. But no, seriously, I think that's where it would start. I think the retention of the officers would start from the top down, from the upper echelon down. Any steps or changes to be made would have to start there. You know what I mean? I can't see it starting on a police officer level.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be the necessary thing. Maybe something to boost morale, something to improve equipment, something to, I don't know. I'm throwing these things out as things that could possibly affect it. I don't know if it would or wouldn't. Um, like I said, maybe that miscommunication thing with the community would also aid in the retention of officers, because if we understand and are understood better, then perhaps it'll be a more pleasurable place to stay. You know what I mean? Like it, anytime there's additional understanding involved in any kind of interaction, it has to result in more pleasurable conditions.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
So that would be my guess.
Okay. Good answer again. Good answer. And I see you, Duke. Duke Harmon. Well, thank you for the shout out. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you tag, like, and share, Duke. I appreciate it. And changing gears again, I want to get back talking about the acting and post retirement. If anyone in law enforcement who's currently working or soon to be retired or is retired or just anyone period wanted to get into acting, what kind of advice would you give them?
So, first things first, and I wish I had done this. If you know of a casting agency or a casting agent, just go there. Just go there and take a peek at what that process is, because that's the most daunting. The most daunting part of all of this is the audition process.
Okay.
Because you're basically putting yourself out for people to tell you no. Because you're going to hear no a whole lot.
I believe
a whole lot of no's before you get to the yeses. So, that's what I would say in terms of research for your future endeavor. I would start by just going to a casting agency and watching the process. And it's funny because when we were first on the job, it was suggested to us to go to court and listen to people give depositions, so that when it was your turn to go to court, you'd be more comfortable because you know what to expect. You'd be a little more familiar with the process. And it's so funny how you get so far from the beginning of something and you forget the little things, the steps that made it easier in the beginning. Because had I remembered what I just said to you, I would have gone to a casting agency and watched that process, so I would be more familiar when my auditions came. But that's what I would say to start, and then from there, you want to definitely get surrounded in good company. You want to be around forward-thinking people. You pick something that you love, an area, a genre of film that you love. You like, you're more favorable of drama, then that's what you lean towards. If you're more favorable to comedy, then that's what you lean towards. Science fiction, horror, whatever. Whatever it may be, and put yourself in that place with those people, and something will happen where you're now involved in the thing that you love. You know what I mean? And then an agent is pretty important. It's definitely somewhat important to get an agent to aid you in finding work. That's what agents do. They find you the work. So it's important to get an agent, and my advice would be get an agent, not an agency.
Is
right?
agent
because
no?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why. An agent that has a smaller stable is going to pay more attention to each of the horses, quote unquote.
Gotcha.
Right? Whereas an agency that is more commercial, if they have 1,000 actors and you're 279, you know what I mean? You're going to be just that. You're going to be a number more than a person. Whereas if you're under an agent that may have 50 actors, you're going to pay a little more attention to each one.
Gotcha. I see you, Kia Hanna. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. She's on YouTube's stream right now. But Teddy, let me ask you, throughout your 26-year career, how do you feel that you've made a positive impact or positive difference in the community or in the life of someone else, or what kind of impact has it had on you?
Wow, that's a good question. So,
thank you.
Again, you're welcome. Again, my hope would be, so let me start with the impact that it's had on me, because that's an easier answer.
Mm-hmm.
The impact that the department had on me is it is absolutely unequivocally the best show on earth.
I can agree.
You are never going to work another job, be a part of another occupation that gives you the view that you get from being a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
It is as simple as that. You're going to see things that take you through a range of different emotions and feelings and beliefs, and it's going to definitely take you from pillar to post being a part of this job. So that's the impact that it had on me, and then, like I said before, I was just blessed to have worked in 3 different districts and I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 different tactical units. I was fortunate, man, to have worked with some of the most phenomenal cops and sergeants and lieutenants and captains and inspectors, and the list goes on and up, to where they were just all very, very good people. They were just all very good cops. Good supervisors, and just there to be instrumental in the furthering of your career. You know what I mean? And so that I was blessed in that. Now, the impact that I had on the job, my hope is it was something positive. The hope is that it was, my effect on the people that I worked with was inspirational and helpful. The effect that the people that I worked for, meaning supervisors, sergeants, lieutenants, captains, and so on, I should say, I hope that was pleasurable, easy, and non-confrontational. You know what I mean? In other words, I pray I wasn't a problem.
Right.
As far as the community I serve, my hope is that I made a difference every day. As long as I made one difference every day, then I feel like that 26 years was worth it.
Good. I'm pretty sure that you have. Yeah. You had a good crew come in and speak very highly of you. It just about my interactions with you prior to this and this interview is very, very easy going, easy to talk to, pleasurable. So I'm pretty sure you've had impacted more lives than you even know, honestly, and you may not even know the full extent of it. I know that you wanted to give a better experience, like you said in the beginning of the interview, of what police officers were and interactions. I know most of us get into this job because we actually think long term. Our interactions with the public, we will want someone like a family member of ours. If they had to deal with a police officer, we want them to have to deal with someone like us or like-minded like us. That would talk to them right, that would be fair and firm, and get the situation rectified. And that's basically
exactly
what you were saying.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yep.
And
So,
yep.
so.
And one word Teddy taught me was patience.
Aha. And who'd that come from? Oh wow, Mike Perkins. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is extremely important. Patience, because you know you think about the situations that you're coming into. Those people are already up in the air. You're
Yeah.
already up in the air to have called you to begin with. So now here you come, and you may have come from lunch. Well, you're not mad from lunch. Unless you had a bad lunch, a horrible lunch, then I guess maybe you are. But you're not mad coming from lunch like they are coming from,
Right.
the argument with him or her or whoever the case may be, or
Mhm.
whatever happened, and now they're on, you know, like to say how people say go from 0 to 100 real quick. They're
Real quick.
already at 80. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? They're at 80, and you're like at 12.
Yeah.
And so now, you guys have to somehow meet at some kind of a median point, and you'd like it to be closer to your number than their number, right? So it definitely takes patience. It definitely takes being patient and letting them just wind down.
Hmm.
You know, hopefully,
Yeah.
all cases don't go that way. I'm sure you know that, Coach.
Yeah.
But that's
We
that's the
all hope
hope.
for the best, but sometimes they do come out a little sideways. I think, and I know,
Absolutely.
that most times most people just want to be heard. And
Right.
once
Exactly.
they express what's on their mind or get their whatever the situation is, and once they get that initial expression out, then after like, okay, now that you can deal with them a little,
Right.
you can talk to them, and they got it out, and they start calming down. I would say that's probably about 9 out of 10.
Right. Absolutely. I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've discussed a lot of things during this interview, and I've had fun learning about your career, learning about acting, learning about the things that you're looking to move forward. It's so many things that there's a lot of questions that we may not have covered or may not have asked, or in the course of the interview, your memory may have gotten jogged, and I may have forgotten to touch on something, or you may have just remembered I wanted to talk about this. Right now, I'm giving you the opportunity to say what you need to say because the floor is yours.
Oh wow. Thank
Yeah.
you. So, um, I just first and foremost, I want to, thank God, like I said, for the opportunity to have worked this job for as long as I did and be retired from it, and to be blessed to the point where I've worked with the amazing and phenomenal people that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Also, uh, you know, m- thanks to shout out, I should say, to my family for standing beside and behind and in front of and every other angle with regards to how this career has unfolded in the turns and chapters that it has gone throughout the 26-year period. So
Mm-hmm.
that also is important, I think, for anybody doing this job, is that family support is definitely something that's a necessary entity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's something that I want to make sure I get out there. Also, okay.
I'm
Don't
not getting in
forget
trouble
about
for that.
what? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Don't forget your amazing wife, right? So,
That's what
ah,
I'm getting in trouble for that
and,
one.
and there she is, the lovely and talented Andrew Wilson Ames, talking about supporting her husband. Where would I be without you, baby? Yo, no, but seriously, absolutely, she is an amazing
Hmm.
woman. We the one thing that this job uh provided for me, or one of the many things this job provided, was we met. I met my wife on this job, so I'm definitely thankful for the job for that.
Hmm.
Um, yes, we met on this job. you know, build our lives together as we're both doing this job because she's an officer as well.
Well, okay.
Yeah. So definitely impactful in um, the latter half of my career and in my retirement. So that's always a good thing.
Gotcha.
Yep. And look, give her all, give her all of the shout outs. Yes. Well, um, did I say she was an amazing woman? Have I said that yet?
I heard you say it, but I understand if you had to reiterate it. I get it.
Yes. She's an amazing woman. Amazing woman. Yes.
Shout out to
So
her.
yeah, definitely shout out to her. Yep.
Yep. And shout out to you too,
So,
Shayla.
and
Giving out the accolades across the airways.
there you go. Absolutely. And again, and I'd like to say thank you again to you for
Absolutely.
having me and giving me this platform to be able to have this conversation. It's definitely, any conversation that is going to be impactful in helping bring, the cops in the community to a happier medium is always something that I'd like to be a part of. So this is definitely something I want to thank you for. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for making yourself available. Thank you for sharing snippets of your career and highlights of things that you got going on right now as far as acting. I'm looking forward to watching you flourish. If we can make this King of Pressure, I'd love to be down there and watch the premiere of that. We'll definitely talk more. I'd love to get you back on the show if time allows us and circumstances are not, I don't want to say different, just watching you grow and more in your retirement, being a retired officer and being more of an actor. Just I'd love to get you back on the show and have a different viewpoint from a different time frame, if that makes sense.
That absolutely makes sense, and I'm absolutely definitely down with that. I would look very forward to coming back and chopping it up all over again. You know what I mean? Like you said, in a different mindset, different time, maybe different events will have unfolded between now and then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that would be awesome.
Yeah, thank you again for making yourself available. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in. We had a great interview. Teddy Ames, retired officer from the city of Philadelphia. He had a wonderful career, got Jimmy on Good Live. Thank you very much. I appreciate the shout out. Make sure you tag, like, and share. We go live weekly with officers from around the nation. Like I said before, that are rookie, that are seasoned, that are retired officers, and giving their perspectives on different aspects on their career, life before the career, life during the career, life after the career, and the impact that it has on us and the impact that it has on you. Make sure you guys come with all your questions. We will be live again. I see you, Duke. Thank you for tuning in. We will be live again next week. But before you go, you guys got to check out Sergeant Be Safe.
The many faces of Sergeant Be Safe and my adventures. You can see me walking down the street doing community policing. I can be in my office typing up a report. Or at a gas station helping out one of our local great citizens. There I am at National Night Out. You guys didn't know I was the life of the party at this dance-off. Oh yeah, get it. And sometimes I have to remind people to lock their doors when they're out visiting the stores. Ha, that rhymed. I do it all the time. This human resources rep bought her copy of The Lab too. Did you get yours? It's available on Amazon. Hey, there's that crook Rob You Blind and his fiendish friend Chance Wilder, aka Wild Chance. They stay doing the most, but they do always get caught. Ooh. Back to jail they go until the next time. You can catch these cartoon skits showing me, Sergeant Be Safe, during the weekly podcast of Black and Blue. Make sure you tune in. It's on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe to the page, and I'll catch you on the next cartoon.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week. We love you. Peace.